In this video, I'm going to show you how to separate your email hosting from your website hosting. And there's a lot of reasons that you're going to want to do this. Now, the main reason I'm making this video is because I've made several videos on how you can save a ton of money switching from hosting services like WPEngine or Kinsta and instead using Cloudways, but their new Vultr high frequency. Now, what all these hosts have in common is that you can't host your email there. And there's a lot of reasons why. I'll go over that as well in this video. But the main point of this video is to show you how you can have your web hosting here and your email hosting someplace else. This video does have a table of contents where you can skip to the part that matters most to you. Let's go ahead and get started. So this video tutorial is going to be how to separate your email from your web hosting. And so let's take a look at why you want to do this in the first place. So first reason is going to be because high performance hosting, like the three that I just showed you, it's just websites only. It doesn't include the email portion. And there's a reason why, but regardless of the reason why, you just have to start separating your email from where your web hosting account is. Now, part of the reason why though is because email hosting performance is just not as important as website hosting performance. Your website hosting is huge because if it's slow or it has problems, it's immediately noticeable and it affects your website in a very negative manner. So emails are not that way at all. If it took you an extra 30 seconds to get an email, whoop-de-doo, an extra 30 seconds to send an email, not a big deal. So you need a different class of performance. And that's why these companies don't do the email hosting portion of it. And another reason, and this is when it's by choice, is if your web hosting goes down, at least your email hosting is not going down along with it. Now, the true reason why email hosting is not included in these hosting packages, high performance hosting packages, is because if you're a spiritual person and you read the Bible, there's this phrase where you're throwing your pearls to pigs. And what that means is you're taking your best stuff and you're using it for something that it's just kind of overkill. It's not necessary. It's not appreciated. A perfect example is on my wedding anniversary, which was very recently. We went out to a very nice dinner and it was a very expensive dinner. One of the items I ordered was a filet mignon steak and I got the larger size and I couldn't finish it all, so I brought it home. This was a very expensive steak. It was about $70. So I bring it home and my wife's preparing a salad the following day and she says, "Oh, why don't we use that $70 filet mignon to put it into our salad?" And I'm sitting there thinking, no, I don't want to take this delicious, perfect steak, slice it up and put it in a salad where it's filled with cheese and dressing and all that kind of stuff. In that example, your expensive hosting is that filet mignon steak and the salad is your email hosting. It just doesn't really matter. Now, what you're going to need to do in this process is manually add some records to something called your DNS server. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's all very simple. Let me just try to explain what DNS is in a nutshell. So every website address has a DNS server tied to it. And a DNS server is a simple way, it's essentially a database that maps human-friendly URLs to an IP address. That's all it is. Perfect example is there's a local restaurant I like to go to called Project Pie. Fabulous place. If I said to anyone, go to Project Pie, they would not know where the heck it is. You have to look at some kind of an online database to get what? The address. And it's the same thing as it works with your website address. When someone types it in your web browser, that's the friendly way that they know how to get to your website. But there's really an address, an IP address tied to it. So this right here is actually what it ends up looking like. So we see in this example, item 1 there is you trying to visit a website, for example, Google. So you type in google.com. What happens instantaneously is your web browser goes to a DNS server and says, "Hey, what is the address to google.com? The DNS server says, here's this IP address to get there. And then your web browser goes directly to that IP address. And the same thing happens with your website address. Whenever someone wants to visit it, first that browser goes to a DNS server. So what you need to know is where your DNS server is so that we can add or change those DNS records. So where is your DNS server? With traditional hosting, where you get your domain name there and everything, it's all in one place. But these high performance web hosting companies do not have the ability to allow you to register a domain name there. So you have to register your domain name somewhere. So usually your DNS server might be tied to where your website is registered. Or in the example that I like, or the way that I like to do it, is through Cloudflare. It's a free service and you can sign up for an account. It's the cheapest place to register a domain name at. And even if you don't have Cloudflare where you registered your domain name, you can use Cloudflare as your DNS service. It's super easy to set up. So let's go ahead and look at the type of records that will be found in your DNS server. And then I'm going to show you how to add these records to connect in to your web hosting account. So the first type, there's more than the types I'm going to cover, by the way. So the main types are your A records and your C name records. And these are mostly pointing towards a website or what's called a subdomain. So you're going to see that mostly in that situation. So we're not going to really cover it. You'll see them, but we're not going to really cover that because that's not needed for email. And then you have what's called MX entry records, and this is for emails. So what would happen is when your email client is trying to send an email somewhere, we'll go to the DNS server and say, hey, where the heck is that email server for this website address? So we're going to be adding some MX entries. And then there's TXT records. And we're going to take a quick look at this because they are also needed for email hosting, because TXT records are where we put some verification information that other email servers use to make sure you are you sending that email. It actually came from you and it actually came from your server. Now there's lots of places that you can get email hosting at, and I'm going to go through them quickly right now. I'm going to show you what I use and actually how to set it up, because a lot of people have asked me this. So if you're using Cloudways, which I totally recommend, you can have service that's just as fast or faster than a competing service that would cost 4 times more, such as WPEngine or Kinsta. Okay, so with Cloudways, though, they have a integration. First, actually, let me back up. They have an integration with Rackspace where you could pay $1 per month per email address. This is just an option, and it's real easy to set up, and all you'd have to do is add these DNS records. Alternatively, here's an article that is about how to connect into Zoho email, which is free for 5 email accounts. A lot of people like to use G Suite. It's kind of pricey though. It's going to run you about, I think it's like $5 a month per email account, but it comes with lots of other things. So a lot of people prefer that. Here is that Zoho page. So it's just Zoho/Mail. I have links to everything down below to make things easy for you. And when you scroll down, you can read about the limitations, what's included for free, and all that kind of stuff. It's actually a pretty good deal if you ask me. I think it's 5 email accounts, and some people have said some good things. Now, so there's other options as well. So these are like your typical options, and there's many more out there. Any place that hosts emails, you can use that service. But I like to think a little bit out of the box, and I like to also think with my pocketbook and have an affordable solution. If it's just 1 or 2 emails, it's not that big of a deal, but if you need more email accounts than that, the cost is going to add up pretty quick with all the solutions that everybody else uses. So let me tell you what I use and what I've been using for many years now. I literally go and get a dirt cheap web hosting account that is based upon something called cPanel, and I'm going to make a recommendation here in a moment, where the hosting is so bad, there's no way on earth that I'd put a website there because it would load so slow. But the cost is so low, it's perfect for email. So let me give you an idea. Here's a perfect one right here. Hostinger. and you could literally get hosting as low as 99 cents per month. Actually, the plan you want is going to be, I think, $2 or $3 per month. Let's go and take a look real quick on the page here. Yeah, this is the plan that you would want. It's as low as $2.89, and I even have a coupon in the video description that's going to take, I think it's another 10 or 15% off. Now, they make you sign up for a long period of time, but when you add it up, it's really, really cheap, and you get unlimited websites and unlimited email accounts. So you could just pile all your email accounts on here. But like I said, the performance is not that great. If you're watching this because you like and value high performance hosting, this is not the high performance hosting at all. I wouldn't put my website here, but I gladly put my email here. So this is what you'd want to get. Like I said, I've got a link to this site. You can use any dirt cheap cPanel hosting that gives you unlimited accounts, but I have a link to this down below with an additional discounted coupon. You're pretty much going to have a hard time finding something cheaper than that. So let me show you how you connect it all up. So right here is Cloudflare, and I already have this set up. I registered the domain name, and this is where my DNS records are. So when I log in, I can click right here and I've got my DNS records. So I only have one here, and this is for my website. So this is what right here, it says an A record. Remember I said A records and CNAME records are most of the time for connecting to your website and connecting to subdomains for websites tied to your website address. A lot of tongue twisters in there. So what we need to do is make it so when someone wants to send an email to this domain name, maybe adam@localorderingssystem.com, it sends it to Hostinger, which will handle the email. So let me show you how simple that is. So what you'd want to do when you sign up for a cheap Hostinger account, you can add add-on domains. So you can add your main domain and add-on domains. So you can host emails for multiple domains. So what you do when you log in, right here is actually what their control panel looks like. So this is typical cPanel. It just looks a little different. You would go to add a website. It takes you here. You'd pop your website address in, and then it will generate these DNS records that we just need to copy and paste over to Cloudflare. So when you're here, there's an option down here that says DNS Zone Editor. And this will be the same regardless of the cPanel based hosting that you're using. Now, once you set your domain name up in here, it's going to generate all these DNS records, except we're not using them for the DNS server. So we just need to copy and paste some stuff over. Okay, so here is the A records, and we don't need that. Here are the CNAME records, and we don't need that. Well, there's two that we could take from here, which is webmail. So if you're going to want to check your email through a web-based interface, and it would be webmail. The domain name of your website.com or whatever it is, then you would want to copy this CNAME record over. Actually, let's just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to copy this webmail right here, and I'm going to add a record. And what was that? That was a CNAME. So I clicked on add a record. For type, I'll choose CNAME. I'm going to paste that portion in, the webmail portion. And then here is the next piece. I'm going to paste that in right here. The TTL is automatically chosen, and that's what it's saying here at this 14400. Don't worry about that. Click on save. And so that's if I wanted to have a webmail web-based interface. Here's another one that's auto config. This is related to configuring your email, so you might want to copy that. But what we're really after is this MX Mail Exchanger. So this is what we need. So it's host is the @ sign, and we need to point it to right here, this URL. So let's go ahead and create that. So I'm going to add a record, and this time the type is going to be MX. There's MX. And for name, that was the @ sign. The mail server, I'll paste that in. And let's grab that priority really quick. The priority was 10. It says right here, priority 10. So I'm going to go here and enter in 10 and then click on save. Now I need to do it for this, and this is different. So I'm going to create another record with the priority of 5. And it has this different URL right here. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to add a record, and it's going to be another MX record, and it's the same @ sign. That's what the mail server is. And this was a priority 5. I'm going to click on save. And now I've created 3 new records, the 2 MX records and this CNAME record right here. And that's it. Email is now working. And so I can go on Hostinger and create my new email account, or as many email accounts as I want. And I would have to keep doing that for every time I add a new website address, right? So I'd register a new website address on Cloudflare or wherever you want to. I prefer Cloudflare because it's the cheapest there is. It's only $8.03 or something. Register a new domain name there, and then add that domain name to my cheap cPanel hosting account, let it generate the DNS stuff, copy and paste that over, and then start creating email accounts. It's really simple. It's really ideal if you're going to have more than 1 or 2 email accounts. I'll probably on average have 10 to 20 different email accounts for different businesses tied to different websites. So it totally makes sense. It's very economical to do it, especially when you factor in that I have an additional coupon down there. Now, if you're using a service other than Cloudways, I strongly urge you to check out the video, and I have 2 of them that I recently made on how come Cloudways is faster than these higher end expensive per month services. You can get started as low as $13 per month. That might go up $1 in a year, who knows, but it's as low as $13 per month, and it's faster than services that will charge you $30, $40 for a single website, and there's traffic limitations on the Cloudways site. You can have more than one website in that same price, and you don't have the same traffic limitations. It's a no-brainer, especially when you see how I set it up the right way. So I'll put links to those videos down below. People have been loving it. The feedback has been amazing, and people are saving massive amounts of money on their hosting just by following those tutorial videos. I'll have those down below. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and valuable. Consider giving this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.